Imagine standing in the middle of a quiet street at night. The world has gone still. In the distance, you hear the sound of dragging footsteps, the shuffle of something that doesn't belong. For decades, we've imagined zombies this way: slow, stumbling, relentless, but predictable. The kind of monster you could outrun with nothing more than a jog. But what if everything you thought you knew about zombies was wrong? What if they didn't shuffle? What if they ran? Think about it. A predator that doesn't crawl toward you but sprints. A nightmare with the endurance of the undead and the speed of the living. Humanity has always comforted itself with the idea that zombies are slow, that survival is at least possible with cleverness, courage, and maybe a bit of luck. But what happens when that safety net is ripped away? What happens when your enemy can move faster than you? Picture the classic zombie. It is terrifying because it never stops. No hunger satisfied, no pain to slow it down, no fear to keep it away. But it moves like decay itself, sluggish and steady, always giving you the illusion of time. In that illusion lies hope, the hope that you can run, hide, plan, and fight back. That hope is the heartbeat of every story where humans stand a chance. Now erase that picture. Replace the stagger with a sprint. Replace the moan with a scream. Suddenly, the game changes. You're no longer chased by death dragging its feet. You're hunted by something that can close the distance in seconds. Imagine standing at the end of a hallway when the first infected spots you. Before your mind has even processed the danger, it is already upon you. Do you fight? Do you run? Do you even have time to decide? Human survival has always depended on the idea of preparation. You can board up the windows. You can stockpile supplies. You can fortify a supermarket, a school, or even your own home. Against slow zombies, this works. Against fast ones, it doesn't. The moment they break through a door or a barricade, you have seconds to escape, if that. And if they can run, then they can climb. If they can sprint, then they can leap. Every wall you build becomes just another obstacle to be torn down. Now imagine this outbreak spreading in the real world. In classic scenarios, a single bite might take hours to turn a person into one of the infected. That delay gives people time to flee, warn others, maybe even organize. But in a world where the zombies are fast, time becomes a luxury. Infection spreads quicker, panic escalates, and cities collapse not in weeks, but in days. Would your government have time to react? Would your military be ready? Let's take a closer look. A slow-moving zombie outbreak would still be devastating, but it allows for checkpoints, quarantines, and evacuation zones. The military has time to set up lines of defense, to mobilize tanks, helicopters, and drones. But against fast zombies, imagine the chaos. Cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, all with millions of people packed tightly together. Once the infection begins, the streets become rivers of terror. Every subway tunnel becomes a trap. Every traffic jam becomes a feeding ground. Soldiers could be deployed, yes, but how long could they hold against an enemy that charges at them without hesitation, without fear, and without exhaustion? Think about the human body. A soldier needs rest, food, water. They need strategy, morale, and orders. A zombie needs none of these things. If they can run, then they can run forever. Your squad might mow down dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands. But eventually, the gun runs out of bullets. The tank runs out of fuel. The human heart runs out of strength. The zombie doesn't. Now put yourself in this moment. You're with your family inside your home. The news reports have just confirmed what you saw outside. They don't walk, they run. You hear the pounding footsteps in the street, the frantic screams of neighbors who never stood a chance. What would you do? Would you run for the woods, try to vanish into the countryside? Or would you barricade yourself inside, praying the walls hold just long enough? Which choice is the right one when time itself has been stolen from you? This is where the fear deepens. Against slow zombies, humanity always has one advantage: the ability to think, to plan, to adapt. We could build strategies, design traps, and outwit an enemy that was strong but stupid. But what if the zombies were not just fast, but unpredictable? Imagine them rushing down a street, leaping over fences, smashing through glass, and attacking with the speed of a predator. Every strategy built on human reflex collapses. Every calculation of survival changes. Suddenly, the smartest human is just another prey animal running from a faster predator. In cinema and television, we've already seen glimpses of this horror. Fast zombies in movies like 28 Days Later or World War Z shocked audiences because they shattered the old rules. But those were stories. In reality, science offers chilling hints that something like this could happen. Think about rabies, a virus that infects the brain and makes its host aggressive, violent, unafraid. Imagine it mutating, spreading faster, altering motor functions, not to slow the body but to fuel it with a manic energy. Suddenly, the idea of fast zombies doesn't feel like fantasy, it feels like a possibility. So the question becomes, could humanity survive at all? Survival chances would drop drastically, not gradually, but immediately. The wealthy might hide in bunkers. Governments might retreat underground. But for the average person, the odds would be grim. Neighborhoods would fall overnight. Hospitals, already overwhelmed, would collapse instantly. Highways would become death traps filled with sprinting hordes. The infection wouldn't spread like a disease, it would spread like fire. The military might try to fight back, but even the strongest armies are built to fight humans, not monsters. A fast zombie is not deterred by fear, not stopped by wounds, not held back by fatigue. Even if entire cities were bombed to ashes, survivors would face a new world where every shadow could hold something waiting to sprint. How long could humanity endure before breaking entirely? But here's a darker question. What if we adapted? Human beings have always survived by evolving, by changing, by becoming ruthless when the world demands it. Would survivors harden themselves into something new? Would morality erode when every sound in the night could mean death? Would we still be human if we had to become as savage, as merciless, as the creatures we feared? Picture this. Years into the apocalypse, the world is unrecognizable. The silence of abandoned cities broken only by the sudden roar of sprinting feet. Survivors live like hunted animals, always moving, never resting. Children born into this world would never know the sound of laughter in crowded streets, never know safety, never know peace. To them, the idea of a slow zombie would be nothing more than a comforting myth. And yet, deep inside this nightmare, there would still be resilience. Humanity has always found a way to endure, even in the darkest times. Maybe a cure would be found. Maybe strongholds would be built. Maybe the human spirit, as fragile as it seems, would still outlast the horror. But the cost would be unimaginable. So ask yourself, if zombies could run instead of walk, what would you do? Would you fight? Would you hide? Would you sacrifice others to save yourself? Or would you cling to hope, even when hope seemed foolish? The answers reveal not just how we would face monsters, but how we face fear itself. In the end, this isn't only about zombies. It's about the fragility of human civilization. We like to believe we are strong, that our armies and cities make us unshakable. But sometimes, all it takes is one change in the rules, one twist in the nightmare, and everything we thought was secure comes crashing down. So the next time you imagine the dead rising, don't picture them stumbling toward you. Picture them running. Picture them faster than you, hungrier than you, unstoppable. And then ask yourself one final question. In a world where the monsters don't crawl but sprint, would humanity's story end or begin again in fire and fear?